Yeah?
Yeah, Sacha, your film is very much about the emotional situation of a woman. She seems to be like a woman under the influence. She has to cope with a lot of grief, not only because of the loss of her lover, but at the same time it's a betrayal, because she didn't know that he has another family. So what in the first place made you interested in this kind of fate to develop this kind of character?
I think, well, those are very strong emotions, the grief of loss and betrayal. I was constantly thinking what would be worse for a person. Somebody all of a sudden is dead, or somebody was not even your lover, or was half your lover and deceived you so much. So we were thinking a lot about that and what would come first in the pain. I mean, it's a very painful movie. And I think for me, yes, this dealing with a sudden death was something I was wanting to explore with the character. And a sudden death can be so painful and with so many questions and so so much pain. That was what interested me.
But then what is interesting is the kind you tell the story, because the narrative structure is two parts, but you reversed the order. The second part comes first, and then it's the first part. Why did you reverse the order? What was the attractive thing for you?
It was, we thought would be the best emotional way to tell the story. So you end with her giving away her child. For me, in the first part of the film, she's already dead, in a way, and she's almost floating a bit. And in the second part, you just get the information and feel it's the shock that happens there. And the first half of the movie is just, she doesn't want to be there anymore, and you can ask yourself if she's not already gone.
I mean, at the same time, you're kind of reversing the cause and effect thing. I mean, first we have the effect, and then we are informed about the cause, or how you would describe it. I mean,
Yes, and I thought it was difficult in a way. I had a lot of, also for the editing, because you don't know what people know, or if you tell too much or too little. And I edited for some time, and then my days were over. But I was pregnant, so I had to give birth to my daughter. And so we had a break of 6 weeks, and luckily my producer was like, okay, you can still have more editing days. And then, because before I gave birth, I saw the film and I thought, oh, we are almost there. And after I saw this film, and I was like, this is the vaguest film I've ever seen in my life. So luckily we had some more editing days. And I hope it was a little bit clear now.
Yeah, but you're quite careful to give us in the first part already some hints and some information, or at least we can, more or less, imagine of what has happened. I mean, we know that Boris is dead, and how did you work on these kind of, to make sure that that the audience is with her without knowing too much, but without at the same time knowing not enough?
Yeah, I think that's a very thin line, and it's also difficult. I mean, I think probably you will lose also audience if you are not giving enough information. But we had to have a lot of fresh viewers in the editing. And I was just like, what do you know? At what point do you know it? But it's almost maybe like when you are directing a thriller or a whodunit, you also have to, who knows what at what point.
I mean, your actress has an amazing presence in the film, and the camera is always very, very close to her. She's constantly on the move. in this anonymous world of the highways and the motels and the restaurants, the highway restaurants. Yeah, how did she approach her character? How did you make her approach the character?
She is not an actress, or this is her first time ever acting. She's a singer in the Netherlands, and she's a pop star. She's quite famous there as a pop star. So because it was her first time acting, we spent a long time rehearsing, not exactly the scenes, but more like what were similarities between her and the character. And well, she was really fearless, and I love that. It's the only way I think I can work with an actress. But because I thought it was I'm particularly proud of her because she has a good career as a singer, and she trusted me to make this film, and she was never vain in any way. And I mean, she's not always looking good in it, and normally she's very pretty. So we made her look like she did not have enough sleep, but for me it was also, I mean, it's a very physical movie. It was almost like a dancing film. And,
a dancing film?
Yes, because there's not a lot of dialogue, and it's about movement and touching people, and it's very, very physical.
I guess there are some questions from the audience.
Hi. I would like to know, why would you choose to shoot the movie with so many close-ups and really going very, very close to all the characters and not showing something more of the scenery around it, really becoming very private actually? Why would you do that?
Yeah, I always think before I start the movie I want to have a lot of wide shots, but it never works out. I think in the end I'm just more interested in what happens to the face of a person than the entire. I mean, I love a lot of films that have beautiful wide shots, and but for me it never works. That's all I can tell you. I always think, let's shoot it, and then I don't want it.
Are there more questions? Yeah, over there.
Can you say something to the relationship between the mother and her daughter? I thought I didn't get it, so I don't know why, but it was a little bit strange for me.
Okay, the entire film or just the relationship?
No, just the relationship between the mother and daughter. For me, I didn't really get why the daughter was in the story.
Okay, you didn't get why the daughter is in the story. Well, because I think the betrayal is even more horrible when you have a child with somebody, and the child is the product of your love to this man, and I think for me it's a very strong connection. Maybe the most important one in the world is with your child, and that's for me. And she cannot take care of her anymore. So I thought, I mean, that was the starting point of the film. The idea is that she puts her daughter in the backyard of another family, and from that idea we started to think of the rest of the film. I think, I mean, also for a mother to give away her child, it was kind of a taboo. Even in the script phase, a lot of people were like, I don't want to go into this movie because this is the most horrible thing a woman can do, and I can never relate to a character that does something so horrible. And I was interested in how you, why she would do it, and if you could relate to her in a way. I mean, there are also a lot of films where men are not taking care of their children anymore, but there's not much questions about that, I think. Or it's more normal, but at least in the movies. Yeah, this was the starting point, and I think for me their relationship is a strong one, but she